Welcome back to Shop Dog Garage. In this video, I'm going to be upgrading the driving experience in my 1985 Porsche 944 with the short shifter from only944.com. If you've driven a 944 before or happened to daily one, you may have noticed that the stock shifter has a pretty long throw, meaning you have to move the shifter quite a bit in order to engage to the next gear. While this isn't a deal breaker for daily driving, for spirited driving or performance shifts, the stock throw can feel sluggish. With the short shifter from only944.com, the distance required to move from gear to gear is quicker and more precise, needing 30% less travel than stock. It also adds a little more fun into the driving experience of an already driver-oriented car. Whether you're at the track, canyon carving, or just want a more mechanical feel to your shifting, the short shifter from only944.com is a great upgrade. It allows even daily drivers to have more control over their shifts with quicker response and a more engaging feel. Now let's talk about installing the short shifter. The process is really quite simple but may require an extra set of hands towards the end when installing the new shifter. The first step, make sure that the car is in neutral and lift the rear of the car. I'm going to be removing my tire in order to get a better view for the camera. To remove the old shift linkage, you'll need to remove 3 bolts in total. The first bolt will be located at the bottom of the shaft, which requires a 10mm socket or wrench to remove. The next bolt will be covered by the black boot on your shift arm. You'll need to pull the boot towards the rear of the car to reveal the second bolt, which again is a 10mm socket or wrench. Once you remove these, you can begin to remove the bolt at the top of the linkage, vertical to the first bolt that we removed. This third and final bolt requires a 17mm wrench to hold the bolt in place and a 13mm wrench or socket to loosen the nut. Now that all the bolts are removed from the shifter, we can remove it from the car. Years of grease, oil, and dirt can make it tough to get off. A gear puller is suggested to help remove stuck shifters, but some leverage of some kind should be able to do the trick. Now that you've got the original shifter out of the way, we can install the only944.com short shifter. To install the short shifter, you can start by reinstalling the boot if you want for protection, and slide the new shifter onto the shaft while guiding the slide linkage into the black rod coming from the front of the car. When installing the linkage, make sure to line up the bolt hole on the black rod with the notch on the new shift linkage. When installing the bolt, you should be able to feel the notch by slightly wiggling the linkage until it becomes tight. Using a little Loctite, which I forgot and had to go back and apply later, you can install the new bolts in the same order that you remove them. To install the lower shaft bolt, you'll need to line up the notch on the shaft with the lower bolt hole on the shifter. The final bolt at the top of the shaft will align the shifter inside the car, so you want a second pair of hands to hold the shifter inside the car while you tighten down the final bolt. With the car in neutral and a helper holding the shifter inside the car, the shifter should be straight up and down with equal distance on either side or slightly leaning towards the driver. Finish tightening down the bolts while your helper holds the position nice and tight. And that's all it takes to install the short shifter from only944.com in your late model Porsche 944. I hope this was helpful for some of you, and I hope to see you in the next video.